Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Wildrift Champion Guide. Today we are going to be going over Sion, the Undead Juggernaut. In this comprehensive guide, we will delve into Sions Role, itemization, runes, ability upgrades, and strategies to dominate the Rift. Sion is a resilient tank with incredible crowd control abilities, making him a formidable force in the top lane or jungle. Let's begin. Sion excels as a frontline tank and initiator for his team. His kit is designed to disrupt enemy formations, soak up damage, and provide peel for his allies. With his crowd control abilities, Sion can turn team fights in his team's favour by locking down high-priority targets or disrupting the enemy backline. Sion, like many other frontline tanks, benefits immensely from HP and defensive items. However, Sion in particular also gets huge benefits from AD items due to the new items and his damage scaling. Previously, it was difficult to find the right balance for Sion to optimize damage and tankiness, but now that doesn't seem to be an issue. So let's go over some core items you should find yourself using on Sion in the current patch. Let's begin by breaking down Sion's best items into two categories, offense and defense. Starting with offensive options, Titanic Hydra is by far the best first item to get on Sion. It provides HP and works in conjunction with Sion's passive to infinitely upscale his AD the more health he obtains. Next, there's Heartsteel. Heartsteel is a pure HP item, however the passive gives Sion yet another big burst of damage and HP scaling that no other item can reproduce. And lastly, Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker is a great option for Sion players who like to split push lanes and force pressure away from your teammates and onto any lane he roams down. Honourable mentions include Sunfira Aegis and Searing Crone, which are still useful, but are not more valuable than the other items listed. Moving on to our defensive options, the absolute best item I suggest is the buffed Mantle of the 12th Hour, with the new passive that gives max health instead of healing. The amount of sustain Sion has with the item is unmatched and can no longer be shut down with anti-heal, so now Sion can walk around the Rift with a mini Dr. Mundo ultimate in his back pocket that will end up catching the enemy team by surprise when they witness how much health he regains when it procs. Next up, Thornmail is Sion's next best choice. When against any form of healing, the item synergizes perfectly with Sion's kit because it scales with his bonus health, which you should have no problem stacking throughout the match. Lastly, Amaranth Twingord is a good option for the ultimate late-game tankiness. Combining Amaranth with Mantle will make you a nightmare to face to any teams that do not have the proper items or characters to deal with your immense health pool. Boot options are purely situational. Whether you get plated steel caps or mercury treads is completely dependent on how much magic or physical damage is on the other team. However, I usually go with mercury treads because not only does it provide 50 more HP, it's also more valuable than plated steel caps since your base armor is already inherently higher than your magic defense. However, in situations where multiple hard-hitting auto-attack champs are on the enemy team, consider getting plated steel caps instead. For your enchantments, the standard options are Gargoyle and Quicksilver. However, for those who want to spice things up and be a bit of a playmaker, consider picking up a Magnetron enchant, and for split pushers that want to run down lanes but also be there for the next big team fight, pick up a Teleport enchant. Now let's move on to runes. The best rune tree for Sion is the Resolve rune tree by far. It provides all the needed sustain, and scaling runes Sion needs to become that much more unkillable, so let's go down the list of the best runes for Sion in this tree. Grasp of the Undying provides sustain and bonus health, perfect for trading in lane. Courage of the Colossus, another good option that helps trading in the lane, and the shield scales with HP. Second Wind. Bonus sustain that further increases Sion's laning potential. Overgrowth increases Sion's health pool, synergizing with his passive and making him harder to kill. For the Inspiration tree, by far your best option is Demolish, the best rune you could possibly have on Sion. Turrets won't stand a chance. And lastly, Spells. Flash and Ghost are the best spell combination. Sion lacks mobility, so Ghost gives Sion the mobility to reposition, engage or disengage that he needs without having to waste your ultimate. During the early game, focus on farming and trading efficiently with your opponent. Use your Q, Decimating Smash, to poke and zone enemies away from farm. Coordinate with your jungler to secure kills or assists with your strong crowd control abilities. When setting up your Q, if your opponent is slippery, use your E ability to slow the target to make it easier to land. If the enemy has a crowd control ability to interrupt your animation, try to bait out that move before starting it up. Your Q is your best space maker. Use it wherever you can get value from it so you don't get left vulnerable afterward. If it was used to clear a wave or to poke an enemy, it was not wasted. Use Sion's W, Soul Furnace, to trade in lane and to deal max HP DMG, but do be careful as this ability costs a lot of mana, and you could find yourself running out quickly if used when not needed, and always look to play behind minions when you use your E, Roar of the Slayer, to inflict a powerful slow and armor debuff to enhance the damage of your next Q. Max your Q, Decimating Smash, first. The damage and scaling from this ability increase with rank, making it crucial for teamfights, crowd control, and lane pressure. Max your E, Roar of the Slayer. Second. This ability provides poke, wave clear, and armor reduction, making it essential for trading and harassing in lane. Max your W, Soul Furnace, last. While it provides a shield and bonus damage upon detonation, it's typically maxed last due to its scaling being less impactful compared to E and Q. By mid-game, you should be looking to join team fights and skirmishes. However, taking turrets while your team fights on other parts of the map is also a good option. Utilize your ultimate Unstoppable Onslaught to engage in fights or catch out-of-position enemies. Focus on peeling for your carries and disrupting the enemy backline with your crowd control abilities. At this point, you should already have 3 items, including your boots, so you shouldn't be lacking in damage or tankiness. Don't be afraid to get aggressive when the opportunity calls for it. In the late game, Sion becomes a near unkillable frontline tank that can also dish out immense damage. Stick with your team and focus on initiating fights or protecting your carries. Your job is to absorb as much damage as possible while providing crowd control to control the flow of team fights. If possible, initiate a team fight with your ultimate from afar if the enemy team isn't expecting it. As Sion, your job at this point is less about chasing down kills and more about keeping the carry of the team alive. Use your passive strategically. Even after death, Sion can wreak havoc with his passive, Glory in Death. Position yourself to maximize damage and disrupt enemy positioning. If you know you're about to die and there's no escape being a place that would inconvenience the enemy team, your presence might just snag a kill or get a carry trying to run down your team to back off. Time your Q, Decimating Smash, for maximum impact. Practice the timing of your Q to knock up multiple enemies or interrupt crucial abilities. Get used to knowing just how long you need to charge your Q to trigger the knockup. If you're still having trouble, just look at the red glow of the ability. Once it reaches the edge of the outline, that's when the knockup effect will be activated. Get used to minion shoving to get off your E. Sion has a relatively short range on his E, which makes it difficult to land when chasing a target or when trying to create opportunities for your team. Luckily, Sion can extend the range of this ability by using it on a minion. The damage and slow of the ability remains the same when it connects, so practice playing behind minions and aiming your E to get off your powerful slow and catch an unsuspecting enemy from afar to follow up with your Q or to create space where space is needed. Aatrox. His sustain and harass can be frustrating for Sion in lane. Darius. His engage and true damage can be problematic for Sion, especially if he gets ahead. Fiora. Her mobility and true damage can make it challenging for Sion to trade effectively. Riven. Her mobility and combo potential make dueling with her unfavourable. Renekton. His engage damage and sustain make it difficult to outdamage or trade effectively. Teemo. Sion can outscale Teemo with his poke and crowd control abilities. Nasus. Sion can bully Nasus early and prevent him from farming with his crowd control. Auron. Sion can match Auron's tankiness and disrupt his engages with his crowd control. Kayle. Sion can outdamage and outsustain Kayle in lane pretty easily. Shen. Sion can take advantage of Shen's low attack range and long cooldowns. Sion is a versatile tank with immense crowd control and disruption capabilities. By mastering his abilities and understanding his role in team compositions, you can become an unstoppable force on the Rift. Remember to prioritize tankiness and utility items, and always be ready to engage or protect your team when needed. Good luck, and may your enemies tremble before the might of the Undead Juggernaut. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay in the loop for more future character guide videos. If you have someone you'd like to see me go over, next let me know in the comment section below. See you in the next one.